Hello and welcome to the Golf Course Lawn Show. My name is Ron Henry and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box, and in that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Guys, it's his Labor Day weekend, so we'll see how long the show really goes tonight, because I know that folks often have travel plans, out doing family things, having little vacations, so we'll see how everything works out tonight. Having said that, you know, August is going bye-bye here soon. We got like 2 more days of August left, and then September will be here, which is means we're getting really close to fall. Getting close to the latter part of the year and the growing season. As always, we're coming to you live on YouTube as our primary platform, but you can also watch the show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook on Meta platforms. So whichever way works best for you, feel free to consume it. Again, I worked through the questions and comments in the order that they come in. If you want to jump the line, you can feel free to use the Cash App link there, which is a way to directly support the channel and the content. And on all of that, we can now get into it. Let's see what questions and comments we have in the show this evening. Actually, you know what? Before we even get rolling with that, let me go ahead and put this back up for last week, because Kevin gave a show sponsorship, and the show ended without me doing that. Let me see. Where is this thing here? All right, well, I'll have that there in 1 second. All right, so first up, we got Hinkle's Pro Golf. He says, happy Labor Day weekend, Ron. Let's go. Yeah, man, Hinkle's Pro. Hopefully all is going well with you. Thanks for coming by to stop by and say hello. Hopefully you are doing well. And let me get Kevin up here. There we go. But yeah, man, Labor Day weekend. So you know what that means. Today I put out my my granular fertilizer application, so Humic Max 1608. That went down over the entire lawn. That's really going to be the last application of Humic Max for me, probably for the season. The next app will be like the 12024. So both the front lawn and the back lawn got that. I can show you guys. You know, for those of you that have Bermuda, and you're always saying, "Hey, Ron, you haven't been showing the back lawn off very much." So this is the back lawn as of this afternoon, early this afternoon, around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So the Humic Max is laid down on this, and just got through cutting it today. So overall, we're in great shape for the weekend, for Labor Day weekend. I've done a lot of the labor part of Labor Day weekend, a lot of the work already, right? But there's always something left. So again, the fertilizer's put out, and now it's just to really enjoy the lawn. And for those of you that like zoysia, this is how the zoysia is looking after a double cut today. So we got cut lengthwise, and then the stripes are cut in a direction that is not like this, like cutting away from us. So I cut this lawn really in 3 different paths. You can see how the top dressing, how it's growing through that. So I'd show you a close up there, starting to fill in pretty nicely. And then over here on the vanity strip, also filling in. But again, being zoysia, patience is always in order. So overall, really happy with how the front lawn and how the back lawn are looking this late in the season. And again, gave it some food, so it should really light off here in the next week or so, and continue really looking good until it starts to go dormant in mid to late October. All right. Next up, we got Mr. Robert Rainey. He says, this year has flown by. I agree, sir. It really has. They say the older you get, the faster time seems to go by. And that is definitely true. I mean, this year has been really busy, lots of work. And 2025 is absolutely flown by. We've got September, October, November. We got 4 months left, right? So still, for 2/3 the way through, it's gone through pretty quickly. So now, for those of you that don't know, Robert is a Golf Course Lawn Academy member, has an amazing Santa Bermuda grass lawn, but given that he cannot leave well enough alone, he wants the lawn to look spectacular even in the off season, he started the process of getting his lawn ready for a fall overseed of perennial ryegrass. So he sent me a little comparison picture here to show you guys. So this is what the lawn looked like, again, a few weeks ago. This is the before. This is a couple weeks ago, and this is what it looks like today after another cut. I believe he scalped it again, did a little turf rake, just getting it nice and cleaned up to where when he puts that grass seed out, it will take really nicely. But you can see from that to that, and here's the thing: what will really be really cool is it'll go from this to this, and then back to this, only it'll be perennial ryegrass. And the color will be deeper. The stripes, even as crazy as those stripes are, believe it or not, perennial ryegrass stripes even better than that. So it'll be cool to follow the journey of that and see how your lawn develops over the next few months. Keep us posted. Keep us posted. Keep us posted. All right, next up, we got Mr. Jeff Hiroshi. He says, hey, Ron, happy Labor Day weekend. After leveling a month ago, I have around 1 cubic yard of soil sand mix. What's the best strategy to use it up before spring? Try and spread when the lawn is dormant or laid out now? Yeah, I would not spread it when it's dormant. I mean, if it's still hot where you are, Jeff, I mean, getting it out, really the best answer to this question would have been to get it out a month ago. But if it's still hot, like say you're in Texas somewhere and the temperatures are real high and the grass is still growing aggressively to where you're still mowing several times per week, then if you want to get out there and maybe spot top dress, do some really light top dressing to use that up, I would go that route. The only other option, which you didn't give me that as a choice, is just to hang on to it until next year. But as far as putting it out when the lawn is dormant, would not do that. Absolutely would not do that. Given the size of your lawn, if your lawn is, 3,000-4,000 square feet, if you got a yard of material, spreading a yard of material over, 4,000, 5,000 square foot lawn really shouldn't set things back too badly. I mean, that's going to be a really, really thin coat. And that is what I would do. I would not wait. If anything, if you want to get rid of it now while the grass is still growing. And I would just spread the cubic yard over as big an area as possible. So in other words, put out as thin a coat, as thin a layer as you can. But yeah, don't do it when it's dormant, if you want my opinion. All right. So hope that helps, Jeff. Great question. At least you didn't run out of sand, right? That's the only thing that that I'd say you definitely don't want to happen if you're doing a top dressing project. You get all the friends equipment, everything to get going, and then you underestimate how much material you're going to need, which is not good. In your case, you did not do that, and you got some extra. So, yeah, I would put it out versus putting out when it's dormant. I would not do that. And you said, I plan to level with sand this spring. Thanks. I mean, alternatively, you could hang on to it, but I mean, spring is at least 6 months away, 7 months away. You got September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, so 7, really closer to probably 8 months before you'd be looking at leveling again. So I don't know if you really want to hang on to material that long. I mean, if sitting in your driveway, probably won't win any favors doing that. So if it's only 1 yard, if you can spread it out over the entire lawn, I would get rid of it versus one hanging on to it for 8 months. Plus in 8 months, I mean, there's going to be probably all kinds of stuff growing in it as well too. That's another consideration. But the last option, so of the 3, use it now, put it out when it's dormant, or wait till spring to use it. Putting it out when it's dormant would be my last option. So I would put it out now, like this weekend, Labor Day weekend, great time to go do it. Or hang on to it until next year. And then as far as putting it on a dormant lawn, I would not do that. Okay, next up is Devin. He says, what's up, Ron? Looking forward to some good turf talk. We'll get some dates for you for late September, early October. And then I'll have some aeration content to share both on the course and the home lawn. Awesome. Yeah, Devin, take some pictures, video if you got it. It'd be cool to see what you guys do on the course to get it ready to shut down for the season. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. Just send me dates whenever you get a chance, and we'll make it happen. We will make it happen. Overall, we got another picture here from Mr. John Williams. I'm not sure if John's in the live stream, but he sent a picture of his lawn. He put out the 12-0-24 on it, and he sent me this picture. So you see a spreader, golf course lawn approved, an earthway. I like it. And then you can see his lawn in the background with looks like the irrigation is running. So overall, nice work. Nice work. Cool picture. Okay, next up we got Higgy Pop. He says, happy Friday, everyone. Have a great show, Ron. Let's all hit the like button for Ron. It's free. Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. If you have not hit the like button, I know it's going to be probably a shorter night tonight because folks are out doing stuff for this weekend. But if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, it's a free way to support the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And, I'll take a sip of my, what do I got tonight? Tonight, this is like 2 different types of apple, carrots, ginger. It's really healthy. So whatever it is, it tastes good too. So it's like orange drink. You can see kind of orange in color. Can you guys see that? Yeah, see there? It's healthy, whatever it is. All right. So next up, we have Michael Thomason. He says, hello, Ron. I sent you a pic of the lawn. As you can see, it's all the same color, but it can see the stripes. How do I get different shades of green like your back lawn? Have a lovely Labor Day. Michael, let me see if I can find your picture in my email. Oh, yeah, I mean, that looks good to me, man. I'm not sure. Here's the problem, man. Folks get so demanding. They demand perfection, which I get to an extent. But let me convert this really quickly, Michael, so I can show the folks what we're talking about. M. Thomason. That is not your picture. That is. All right. All right. So what you're saying is that it's all the same color and you see the stripes. So how do we get different shades of green like my back lawn? I mean, I see different shades of green, man. So if you look here, if we pull this up really quickly, this looks pretty good to me. I'm not sure. I mean, you got the light stripes, with the passes where you're mowing away from us. You got the dark stripes with you mowing towards us. If you're asking how you get the stripes to be more pronounced like that, like really burnt in and crispy like that, you got to remember, like this pattern that you see here, I've been mowing the same pattern for a number of years. So I'd say if I go back, bring your picture back up. If you look at the edges of the stripes, they're not super well defined, which probably means that every time you make a pass or every time you mow the lawn, you might be shifting the mower, 2-3 inches each time for each stripe as you're laying them down. So what I'd say is if you can start, let me look here. How would I tell you to do this? Yeah. So, okay. So if you look at the driveway, it looks like you have like a mini dark stripe there between like the light stripe and the car, sort of. Maybe I'm seeing, maybe my eyes are fooling, but it looks like you got like a mini dark stripe, like half a stripe, then light, then dark, and light, and so on and so forth. So what I would do is this. I would start from the driveway and then build out all the stripes on the lawn from that. So start from this picture the way we're looking at it, from the right, and then work your way left. Even if you have to like do a little bit of a reset by starting with the mower on like, you know, a clear indexing point to where the width is always even for the first one, then you'll be able to build them out, and it will be, the lines will get more defined. But if you are, you know, each time again, you're shifting it a little bit, 2-3 inches each way, I mean, it'll still look good, but it's gonna have, the edge is gonna have like a, for lack of a better term, like a softer appearance. Like if you look at exhibit Robert, look at Robert's lawn. Like, I mean, here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Robert's out there laying strings or whatever to get his stripes the way he wants them to look. But if you look here, you can tell that he makes, for the most part, at least the passes that are going right to left, those look pretty well defined. The ones going, the ones going left to right, for me, for my eye, these look crispier. The ones going right to left, if you look, you can see a little bit of maybe a touch of waviness in it. So what, if I were guessing, I would imagine that when he sets up the, when he does the initial pass on his lawn, he mows from left to right, like he's got an indexing point, which is why those stripes look, to me, to my eye, a little bit better defined. You want to do the same thing on your lawn. You want to find like a point where you say, every time I start mowing, it is like every time it's going to be, there's not going to be any variance in the overlap. So with my lawn, I don't know if I can show you in this video here. Maybe it'll show. No, this is not a good one. I can find in a video where you can actually see the patio where I show the back lawn. I think I've discussed this before, but I will, let me see. That's Zoysia, that's the wrong one. I will find one, guys. I'll find one. Man, Zoysia. Oh, here we go, back lawn, here we go. This is it. Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. Yes, you're not seeing it. Okay, but I can tell you which one it is. Okay, so if you look, let me get rid of this, get this off of the screen. Move this up here real quick. So if you look, you see the chimney on that white house that's in the background. That chimney is the light stripe that you see there. That the left side of this light stripe runs along the side of my patio. So whenever I start mowing, when I start the season out, like that's the first pass that I make, and then I just build the lawn out from that. I build the stripes out from that. And I don't think I actually show it in this picture. Yeah, okay, so same thing here. So if you look, whenever I mow the lengthwise stripe, you see how the light stripe that we're looking away from is like only like it kind of wraps around the patio. Whenever I'm starting this in this direction, I go towards like where Alex's lawn is. Like you can't see, like imagine just walking backwards, in other words, and I mow a pass along the patio, along the, like to the left of the patio, and then I build out these stripes, you know, from that point. So what I'm trying to get to, or trying to get at, Michael, is you want to have like a defined point where you can always nail it every single time, and then build your stripes out consistently from that. And if you do that over the course of a few weeks, you'll get them to be really crispy. But if you, for me, again, looking at your picture, it looks like you're varying a little bit, and it's causing a bit of a, I mean, I hate to use the word soft, but a less defined appearance in the crispiness of the stripes. Okay, so hopefully I did a good job explaining that. If not, just let me know and I'll try and explain it again. But yeah, consistency in your passes was really going to help you get it looking nice and crispy. All right. Next up, we got Jackie Bear. He likes Robert's lawn. I agree, dude. I mean, Robert, I tell you, I would not want to have him as a neighbor. The competition would be crazy. I mean, look at that. That's fire, man. It's fire. Looking really good. Okay, Alan Coleman's up next. Is happy Friday, Stripe Action Gang. Looking forward to a great stream. Yeah, man. It should be fun. We'll see how long it goes tonight. Because again, I know it's Labor Day weekend, folks. I don't understand it, but folks got other things to do apparently than just hang out and talk about grass. But we will go as long as you guys are on. I mean, I'm looking forward to this weekend. So here's the thing, guys. So I got the mowing done. I got my 1608 Mahimic Max out, and at some point this weekend, the lawn is going to get its pre-emergent. It's going to get its Spectacle Flow. So you see here, by the way, new branding for Spectacle Flow. You can see the new bottle. This is Enview's new packaging. So if you order Spectacle Flow from us, that's what you're going to get. You get the new fresh stuff. But yeah, this at 1/10 of an ounce per 1,000 is what's going to happen over the lawn. So both the Bermuda and the Zoysia are going to get Spectacle, again at relatively low rates. If you look at the rate for the label, like the max single application rate per the label for Bermuda or Zoysia grass is something like 10 ounces per acre, which works out to like just over 2/10 of an ounce per 1,000. So when I'm up, the rate that I use, which is 1/10 of an ounce, is like half of that. So half of whatever the max rate is per application, I'm using half of that. And then I think the max per acre rate is something like 18 ounces, something crazy that you would never really do over the course of a year, or I would never do. So that's the plan for this weekend. Now that I've got the fertilizer mowing done, it's just time to prevent weeds in the lawn. So the first app of Spectacle is going to go out this weekend. Should be a good time. All right, next up is Mr. Terrence Stamps. He says, Ron and Robert, thank you for your tips. I appreciate you guys for all the help that you gents give out. Yeah, man. Yeah, so Robert, on the Golf Course Lawn Academy, on our private Facebook page, Robert's super active in there. He's, he tends to try and encourage his bad habits, try to share them with everyone else. So I think he's got one other person now in there that's doing a perennial ryegrass overseed because, he didn't want him to suffer alone. So yeah, if you guys end up joining the academy and decide to participate in the Facebook group, Robert's really active in there, always willing to help out. So it's always a good time, good group of guys and gals. All right, next up is Carl Clarkston. He says, got the recommended Yard Mastery backpack sprayer today, ready to put down half app of Spectacle Flow. Thank you for all the amazing content. You're very, very welcome, Clark. I'm glad that, one, you got your sprayer. It's not a mower, but we still can give you some applause for that. It's equipment. We gotta put some love on, some respect on that sprayer, and you'll like it, man. It's a great piece of equipment. I really like mine. And again, it comes with all the spray nozzles you need, so you're good to go as far as I go. So enjoy it, and always great to have a good piece of equipment. All right, the Masked Senpai is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I live in Mississippi, and I have Bermuda grass in the yard. I'm not sure or what type of Bermuda, though. I'm wanting to overseed, but not sure what would be best to overseed with. Okay, so we're in the fall. So you're talking about overseeding Bermuda grass. I imagine you're talking about a perennial ryegrass overseed. So you want to put out like a cool season grass overseed to keep the lawn green during the winter. If you're going to do that, then pick just a perennial ryegrass blend and go with that. If you're talking about overseeding Bermuda grass with Bermuda grass, I would not recommend that you do that. So I'm not sure which of those two you're talking about. I imagine you're talking about being on that Robert Rainey life, where you're getting out there and getting ready to turn this into the cool season version of that. And in that case, just a perennial ryegrass seed. I mean, just a high quality blend that, ideally weed free, blue tag. You want like a good quality. In other words, don't cheap out on grass seed. But yeah, that's the only seed I would consider putting out on a Bermuda lawn this time of year. And again, if your goal is to keep it green during the winter months, if you're talking about overseeding Bermuda grass with Bermuda grass, I would not do that. That would be a bad idea. All right. Hope that helps, the Masked Senpai. Next up is Jeff Rose. He says, what's the reason for not leveling during the dormant season? Just curious. Great question, Jeff. So yeah, so the lawn's not actively growing, right? So the issue you're gonna run into is if you go out and you put a layer of sand over a dormant lawn, it's just not gonna grow through it. So you're pretty much setting yourself up to have, you're putting out a perfect foundation for weeds to establish. You could argue that it's a stressor to the grass because you're essentially smothering the lawn. Like it's not gonna, you've got grass that's not actively growing and you're burying it in compost and sand. Just not a great idea. So whenever you want to go out and top dress or level a lawn, you want it to be actively growing or about to be actively growing. So let's say you said we were having this conversation and it were, let's say you're in Texas somewhere, right? And say it were like March, which is a bit early to level, but some people do it. I'd have less reservations about you doing that than leveling now when the lawn is going from like actively growing to 3 to 4 months, 5 months of dormancy. So the big reason again is just it's a stressor. You can smother the lawn, and then you're just creating a situation where you're going to have a bunch of weeds in your lawn because the grass is not actively growing. It's not going to grow through it. So there's no reason to put out a bunch of compost on a lawn where the grass isn't going to grow through. So that's why for me that would be the least desirable option out of the three. All right. Okay, next up is the Mass Senpai. He says, when I let it grow about 2 1/3 inches, it stripes really well, but I want to cut it lower to get those really deep lines. Yeah, so if you're cutting at 2.5 to 3 inches, then you're likely rotary mowing it. If you want your lawn to stripe like this, well, first of all, you gotta have a lot of time because Robert's out here mowing this. I'd imagine during the summer months 3 times a week is what I would guess. Every other day is what I would imagine he's doing. So the lower you go, the more you're going to have to mow the Mass Senpai. So if that's what you're after, just realize what you're signing up for from a standpoint of time commitment. And then second is the equipment you use, right? So if you're using a rotary mower, you will not get stripes like this with a rotary mower. Just not possible. Like what you're looking at there is a lawn that's being cut with a greens mower, which is a heavier piece of equipment, and it has the benefit of having both a front roller and a rear drum. So it's propelled by a rear drum, so you're rolling the lawn essentially twice. The roller's like pulling the grass in the direction you're going, and then the rear drum is also pulling the grass in that direction, which is why you get these really, really burnt in and deep stripes. So to go shorter, to go lower, you're going to want to get a real mower, ideally one with a rear drum and a front roller. And then if you mow it at 3/4 inch, you can get really good stripes going that route. You know what I mean? So it just really depends on what your goal is from a standpoint, what your goal is from equipment, and then time to be able to pull that off. So if it were me, just know what you're signing up for. It sounds really cool to have a lawn that looks like this, and it is, but you just have to really have the time to make it happen. All right. Okay. Next up is Donald James. He says, thank you, Ron, for all the great support and advice. I also bought the Yard Mastery Fabric Sprayer. Nice. It's a great sprayer, man. You're going to like it. Again, mine is serial number 6, and only now it's starting to get tired. So it's a great choice as far as equipment goes. And Donald says, I'm hoping to turn my lawn disaster around. It's not that difficult to do, Donald. I mean, the big thing is, I'd say, is, figure out like what the challenges you have in the lawn. So if you got weeds, figure out, what the weeds are, get a proper selective herbicide that will not injure your grass that you want to keep while controlling the weeds. Get a soil test done and feed the lawn based on those soil test results, and then just mow really consistently. And if you do those things, it's pretty difficult to not grow a healthy stand of turf grass. It just takes time. You know what I mean? So you get rid of the weeds, get a soil test, feed the lawn based on the soil test results, and then regular mowing, and an awesome lawn is a byproduct. All right. All right, next up is Xander Gray. He says, hey, Ron, is liquid aerator effective? Have you tried it before, and how effective is it? So is liquid aerator effective from the standpoint that it helps improve microbial activity? Yes. Is it effective from the standpoint that it's a substitute for core aeration? No, not even close. So it depends what you're really trying to achieve. I mean, you could argue that like the NutriKelp product that we carry is a liquid aerator. Release Zero can be considered a liquid aerator. Biospectrum, all of them increase microbial activity, which will help break down organic material, break down thatch, which is what liquid aerators aim to do. But as far as a way to relieve compaction, it's just not an efficient way of doing it. I mean, you're much better off renting a core aerator or paying someone to come out and core aerate your lawn from a standpoint of relieving compaction, fast tracking air, water, nutrients into the soil. So do they work, or are there benefits to them? Yeah, but I mean, are they a replacement for core aeration? No. There's like they're very, very far apart as far as the results you would get, or the results and benefits you get from core aeration versus like, a liquid aeration product. I'm not going to say they're useless, but I mean they don't replace core aeration. A great way to you can know this is true is that if liquid aeration products were effective, at least the way they're marketed to be effective, then golf courses, professional sports fields would all use them, and they don't. You think about again, you think about a golf green. One of the things that one of the challenges is they have to core aerate and then top dress with sand as a way to dilute the organic material that begins to build up in the greens. If they could get out there, and when they do that, where they core aerate it, put sand out, then the greens don't roll as well. They can't be used for a week or so, week or two, depending on how long it takes for it to recover. If they could get out there and just spray a liquid aeration that would achieve the same thing, then they absolutely would, but they don't because it's not as good. It doesn't produce the same results. So, I mean, if you have one and you want to use it, fine, but it's not a replacement for core aeration, is what I'm trying to tell you. All right, so hope that helps, Xander. Uh, Again, not really throwing shade on liquid aeration products. It's just that they in many ways are they're kind of oversold, in my opinion, for as far as like the benefits of them. But I mean, if you got one, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just not going to be as good as core aeration. All right. Next up is Diamond. He says, Ron, I dropped Rio Bermuda grass seed on 8/13, germination on 8/19, good coverage. What's the best way to push growth? Do this in like April. So it's good. It's awesome that you got germination just 6 days after application. The challenge you're going to run into, Diamond, is that unless you live like in Florida somewhere where it's going to be, or South Texas, where it's going to be hot for a long period of time, like the grass is going to start slowing down how quickly it grows. Like I'm already noticing it on my lawn. Like the amount of clippings that are being produced is slowing down. So my concern with you doing a Bermuda renovation in August is especially if you live somewhere where you have somewhat of a real winter where it's going to get cold and stay cold for extended periods of time, maybe even get some snow on the ground, is you're not giving the Bermuda grass a whole lot of time to establish and grow in. As far as pushing a lot of growth, the best thing you can really do is just to mow it. Like if you mow it, you're going to encourage it. You're going to encourage new growth, and that's one of the best things you can do for a new lawn. Just mow it really frequently. I would not over fertilize it with nitrogen. Doing that pushes a lot of top growth, but I mean, really what you're after is to drive deeper roots and just get the lawn as healthy as possible before it goes dormant due to cooler weather. So again, the best thing really would have been to do this work earlier in the season, so you had more growing time. But I would tell you between now and when it goes dormant, just keep feeding it, a reasonable amount of nitrogen, some phosphorus, some potassium, so a bit of all the macros, and just keep up with your mowing frequency, because that's going to help encourage growth and going to help the lawn establish that much faster. So hope that helps, sir. Again, congrats on the new lawn. I would not, again, don't fall in the trap of throwing tons of N at it and thinking that's going to really solve the problem. I would really just fertilize sensibly and to mow it a lot is what I would say between now and when it goes dormant. All right, Robert Cease says, my dad has St. Augustine grass. It's really spongy and has some runners above ground. Is it okay to verticut it? So here's the thing. I've never really verticut St. Augustine. Of the two, of the choice of like verticutting or like running a dethatcher over it, verticutting would be the choice that I would make if you're looking to thin it out. I would not dethatch it. That's just going to make a big mess. It's going to rip the lawn up. So while I've never verticut St. Augustine, here's what I would do, Robert, is I would set the verticutter up not too aggressively to where you're not anywhere near getting to the soil, and just make a light pass over the lawn and see how much material you get to come out of it and see if it improves from that. So what I'd say is multiple light passes versus trying to be really aggressive and try and really thin the lawn out all in one go. That would be my recommendation or thoughts for you if you decide you're gonna go do that. I mean, St. Augustine does get really thick once it's growing, but of of the two, if I had a choice between verticutting and dethatching, dethatcher is what I would not do. I would definitely not do that. That's just going to cause a lot of damage, and you know, verticutters you're probably better suited for thinning out the lawn using that versus a dethatcher. All right, so we got a Cash App here. This is from Nico. He says, no question, but thank you for your content. Thanks so much, Nico. So let me get you up here. Kevin, you're up for a while, so let me get Nico up. So I appreciate the support, sir. So there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. And next up is Donald James. He says, I took your advice with the Miramichi Green and the Carbon Kit. Nice. Awesome. All right, JP is up next. He says, hello from Central Kansas. He says, Ron, can you please explain the mowing pattern for double wide stripes? Thanks. Okay. I have a video that shows this, but the way, how can I do this? Yeah, you know what? I'll use an iPad as an example, because this iPad is like double wide, is like thick, right? So we can use this as an example of how you would do it. Okay, so go to this camera. Okay, so let's say you're doing, these are your two double wide stripes, right? And these double wide stripes are made using, let's say your mower, when it makes a pass, only covers half of one of these. So what you would do is we're gonna do these two stripes. We would make a pass down. So we're making a pass down, and then over to this one, over to this next stripe, come up, and then over, and then down, and then over, and then up, and then repeat coming down here. Okay. So if we were repeating this again, let's actually say we came down this way, right? So let's say we're gonna build these two out coming down this way. So we make a pass down. We say we just finished building out this double wide stripe. So this one is complete, and we're about to start these two. So we're finishing up this one. So we finished up this one. We come down, up. No, I did this wrong. I'm getting confused. So yeah, no. So yeah. So let's start this way. Yeah. So we came up. We just finished this guy, right? So our last pass was coming up. So now we're going down, over, up, over, down, over, up, and then assuming there's more here, we would whip over and come down again. All right. So again, so just to recap, we finished this stripe coming up, over, down. So we built out half of this one. Then we come over and then mow half of this one coming up. So this stripe, if I'm looking at it from this way, is going to be darker. This is going to be lighter. Then I come back over and I finish out the double wide light stripe. This is light. And then I come over and then finish out the double wide dark stripe coming towards me. And then I come over and then down and just keep repeating that. I have a video that shows this and explains it better than what I just did. Let me find it. That talks about, it's from last season. So I get this one, fairly often. And the last one I did on mowing stripes, I actually didn't like it. So the one from last year was better. So I will show you, I'll share this one with you. Oh, here we go. All right, how to mow thick stripes in your lawn. Great title for a video. All right, JP. So at JP, how to mow thick stripes. All right. So yeah, long short of it is down, over, and then you just kind of, it's like you are, I don't know. It's you get used to it once you do it often enough. The way I just explained it, and that video actually shows me doing it. So you'll be able to, and I actually have numbers. I actually, in that video, I actually number each pass. So it makes it even easier to follow. So hope that helps. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I think, you know, especially if you have a bigger lawn, thicker stripes look better to me. A smaller one like Michael's lawn, Michael Thomas's lawn, I mean, it looks good with singles. Doubles, how would that look with doubles? You know what? That wouldn't be bad with doubles either. The more I look at it, that wouldn't be bad with double stripes. Yeah, you might consider that, Michael. I mean, the one thing you're going to find is that you're going to go through a period of resetting, like to get them, the ones that are currently dark to trained in the other direction. But you know, I might consider that if I were you. I'm not sure how wide your mower is. It looks like maybe a 20-inch. It looks like, but I would consider doubles here. It would look good because it looks like it doesn't look like that's a 26-inch width mower to my eye, based on the width of the stripes, and I compare it to like a car tire that's on the driveway. Looks like a 20-inch. So if that is true, then you could do doubles and it would actually look pretty cool, I think. So hope that helps, JP. Watch that video. It talks about how to mow thick stripes. And for those of you that are not on YouTube, actually, let me post it here so the folks that are on the Gram and other channels will be able to see it as well. All right. Okay. All right. Next up, we have Colton Hildebrand. He says, hey, Ron, I want to replace my St. Augustine with Zoro zoysia in my backyard, approximately 6,000 square feet. How do I remove the St. Augustine and prep for new sod? I'm in Houston. Okay, so if you're not trying to save the St. Augustine, you're looking for an easy way to get rid of it, just glyphosate. That's going to be your fastest and easiest route. It's or least expensive route. You could do glyphosate. Actually, you could do glyphosate. You could do the same thing you use for Bermuda. You can do glyphosate and Fusilade too if you wanted to. Because if you're not using recognition in this, then Fusilade 2 is going to damage St. Augustine. So you could, if you have some Fusilade 2 laying around, you could mix that in the tank with glyphosate. But if not, just glyphosate by itself would work fine. What I would tell you is, let me think about this. So a round of glyphosate, and then give it 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to work and see what kind of kill off you get. You may have to do another app to really get it gone. The thing that you'll find is maybe even after the single app, if you then cut out the St. Augustine that's there and then you put the Zoro in the zoysia, the nice thing about this problem is that there is a way to selectively control the St. Augustine in the zoysia, which is nice. You can use quinclorac to do that, right? So, whereas if you were doing like what Michael Thomason did, where you had Bermuda and you were going to a different type of Bermuda, in that case, you really want to make sure you do a really good job killing off the existing grass, because there's not yet anyway, there's not a way to selectively remove one type of Bermuda from another without damaging both of them. But because you're going from St. Augustine to zoysia, quinclorac, like zoysia tolerates quinclorac really just fine, but St. Augustine doesn't. So I would say glyphosate. Glyphosate would be an easy way to go. If you want a good option for glyphosate, we have like go to Golfer's Lawn Store, go to shop, then Weed Killer. And then I think we have the Quick Pro product, Roundup Quick Pro, which is actually glyphosate and diquat. So it's actually like it's 2 herbicides, 2 non-selective herbicides. And this is really easy to use. It's just one of these packets in a gallon of water, and they cover about 1,000 square feet. So as far as use, super easy. Just that water, spray the lawn, and just wait. And that's going to do a really good job, killing off the St. Augustine and getting you all set up to do zoysia. Here's the thing, Colton. You didn't ask this. I'm going to share, while I share the link here for the glyphosate with you. You didn't ask this, and you talked about doing Zoro. I want to say Zoro can Zoro be done from seed? There's one of them that can be. Can you? I think Zoro might be the one, or maybe not. I know Supersod sells one that is, yeah, so it is. So here's the thing. Unless you're really in love with Zoro, I would look at some of the other Xeon cultivars, because Zoro's nice. All zoysias are nice, but if you might look into Xeon, you might look into Emerald. There's tons of different types of zoysia that if you decide to go the sod route, that the window opens up for you, the door opens up for you. So I would consider looking at that versus just settling on Zoro. And another reason why I say this is that it's Zenith. Zenith is what you can grow from, is the commonly one grown from seed. That's what I was looking for. So Zenith is the one I hear people mainly grow from grass seed. I didn't know that Zoro was available as a seed. At any rate, with only 6,000 square feet, you're gonna sod. Look at Zoro. Unless you're already sold on that one, look at some of the other cultivars too, man. Like Xeon is nice. Again, there's other ones out there. Just make sure you visit the sod farm, and that you look at all your options, and then just decide from there. So hope that helps. Unless you like the slightly thicker blade of the Zoro, then just go with that. But if you're going from St. Augustine to Zoro to zoysia, I would think you are going to zoysia not only for the color, but maybe for the finer leaf, which like a Xeon or an emerald would have, whereas like Zenith and Zoro, I mean, they're both nice, but the blade tends to be a little bit thicker than the other ones I'm talking about. So I say just take a look at the entire catalog before you fully decide. But at any rate, glyphosate, that's what I'd point you towards to be able to get rid of your St. Augustine lawn. That's gonna be the most economical way of doing it. All right. Keep us posted, man. Take pictures of the lawn of the project so we can see how you get on with doing it. All right, next up is the Trillo from Manila. 2 Trillos enter the chat. He says, hey, Ron, and happy Friday, everyone. Looking forward to get fives. I'm not sure what that means. I guess tonight's live stream, maybe. But at any rate, hopefully you're having a good Labor Day weekend. Get out and mow the lawn. Get out and do something fun on the lawn, I would tell you, 2 Trillo. And then Carl Clarkston is up next. He says, if there are weeds left at the end of the season with pre-emergent keeping them from coming back, even though they're already rooted. If there are weeds, okay, so no. So if there are, if the weeds that are left in your lawn as we get to the end of the year are weeds that tend to grow in the warmer times of the year, so like crabgrass, for example, when it gets really cold, crabgrass will die off. Like it'll go away, but it'll be back next year unless you apply pre-emergent. So pre-emergent isn't going to do a whole lot against actively growing weeds. There's a few of them that have some reach back on on weeds at an early stage, but for the most part, if you've got weeds actively growing in your lawn, you're going to want to use a post-emergent herbicide to control them. So to answer your question, should you apply pre-emergent this fall? Yes. Is it going to do anything against the weeds, for the weeds that are currently already growing in your lawn? No. So you're going to want to use, again, a post-emergent herbicide to knock those out. And then the pre-emergent is going to reduce the amount of weed pressure that you're going to see going forward. So just think of them as it's not an either or. They both work together. Pre-emergent interrupts weeds, the growth of them at the earliest stage of their growth cycle. And if either through bad timing or just having some breakthrough, you have weeds that are growing, then that's where post-emergent herbicides come into play. So they both work together. It's not an even or kind of thing. All right, Robert Rainey says, great way to explain the getting the stripes, Florent. I would add there's nothing wrong with double cutting the same day, same direction if time permits. That's true. That is true. If you can double cut the lawn, that's also going to make the stripes more pronounced. So that's another, if you got the time to do it, Michael, that's another way to really get those the stripes really, really nice looking. So yeah, it's a good point, Robert. Excellent point. Double cutting will deepen the stripes, make them more crispy. All right, next up is Tutrilla. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday, everyone. Looking forward to getting some work done in the lawn this weekend while enjoying some cooler temps. Yeah, it was actually nice mowing today. It was warm, but not like mowing in July where you're out there for like 2 minutes and you're already like drenched in sweat. So it's actually a nice time of year to be out in the lawn. And then this weekend will be spectacle time, some pre-emergent time. Right. All right, so Tech Savvy Jay is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I'm planning on putting down my pre-emergent this weekend. I like it. Would it be okay to also do my spoon feeding then, or should I space that out another day? Could you do them on the same day? Yes. But I would wait to water in the pre-emergent till the following day. So if you want to do your spoon feeding, you could say go out and spoon feed the lawn first, do that first in the morning, let the lawn dry, and then go out and apply your pre-emergent afterwards and just wait until, again, the following day before you run irrigation or whatever you're going to use to water the pre-emergent in. The only thing that's really, I'd say, important to do with that process is that the foliar sprays, so whatever you're doing, like whether it be biostimulants, growth regulator, fertilizer, that you allow adequate time for it to dry on the lawn before you get out and run irrigation. All right. Okay, next up we have Robert Rainey. It's been a while since the last giveaway. I know, right? It has been a while since the last giveaway. But giveaways we typically do later on in the season, later on in the year. I don't know. I'm not sure what to do for a giveaway this year. I don't know. I have to put some thought into it. I've literally not thought about it until you just mentioned it right now, Robert. But we'll have to plan something for later on in the season. All right, next up is Brett Cure, and he has a question about cutting height. He says, what is your recommended height of cut for Bermuda throughout each season. FYI, my real mower only goes between 1/8 of an inch and 1 inch. To go higher, I have to use a rotary mower. Okay, great question, Brett. So I like to leave the lawn at an average of 3/4 of an inch throughout the growing season. So if you want to have the lawn really tight earlier in the season, maybe a bit lower height of cut, you could cut it at 5/8. And then as we get into the hotter times of the year, June, July, August, when the grass is growing a bit more aggressively, you could bump that height of cut up to 3/4 of an inch and just leave it there. I've done 3/4 of an inch all season. I've done 5/8 and then 3/4 in the latter part of the season. And I've also done just under 1/2 an inch for the entire season, to include like when the lawn goes dormant in the fall. And in all three cases, the lawn came out of dormancy the next year without issue. The thing I would say is if you have the time to continue to mow the lawn and maintain it at, say, 3/4 of an inch, I would do that. Because if you allow the lawn to grow out during the fall, I mean, I don't particularly think that's strictly necessary for Bermuda grass. Like you look around all of the golf courses around here, that even when the Bermuda goes dormant, they're not letting the fairways get super tall. They're still keeping them, low enough to where the ball rolls, like, 1/2 an inch, maybe just over 1/2 an inch. And you also create a lot less work for yourself in the springtime when it comes to scalping and getting the lawn ready for new growth next year. So if you could just pick one height of cut to rule them all, and again, this is Bermuda grass, per Ron Henry, and you ask anyone else, they'll have different opinions. But from my testing, I think that 3/4 of an inch is the best overall height of cut for Bermuda grass on a residential lawn. It stripes really well at that height of cut. The color looks really good at that height of cut. It's a height of cut that is good and easy to live with throughout the entire season. So during the springtime, you're not really working that hard. You'd be cutting twice a week. During the hotter times of the year, you're able to keep up with the cutting requirements at 3/4 of an inch without taking too much material off. And then you can maintain that into the fall if you want to, and then just start all over again the following year. So if you could just pick, if you want just one height of cut, for me, with you having a real mower, 3/4 of an inch is where I would say. If you like it a little bit lower, start out with 5/8 and then go up to 3/4 of an inch. So hope that helps, Brett. That's what I've done. I've tested, again, just under 1/2 an inch to as tall as 3/4 of an inch, and that for me is the best height. It's the one that's the easiest to live with, is what I would say. The joke I always give folks is if you maintain a Bermuda lawn or a zoysia lawn at 3/4 of an inch, that you get all the benefits of real mowing without it getting to the point to where it becomes like work and messing up your life, right? If you decide you're going to maintain a lawn like under 1/2 an inch, I mean, you can do that, but during the summer, that means like mowing every day. It means if you go on vacation, you're going to be coming back to an absolute nightmare to have to reset and clean up. So, and the color's not as good. The stripes aren't as good. You are more likely to have issues with disease because you're just injuring the lawn that much more frequently. Whereas with 3/4 of an inch, you get like all the benefits and less of the negative points. So I would tell you 3/4 of an inch is where I would run it if you're just looking for one height to rule them all. That would be the one for me. All right, Mehdi is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, just did a light top dress on my newly installed Bermuda. I'm in Texas. I put down 14714. I am applying the liquid blend at about 6 ounces per 1,000 every 2 weeks. What do you think?" I like it. So yeah, you are doing. I'm imagining that the rate that you're using for the 14714 is the lower end of the rate card, so like 1/2 pound of nitrogen per 1,000, which still leaves you some room to be able to spray your liquid fertilizer every couple of weeks. That's solid. Sounds like a good spoon feeding program. Thing you could also say too, Mehdi, is look at the lawn. How does the lawn look? Like the way the program you're giving it, the nutrient program coupled with the way you're mowing it, does it look good? Like visually how the lawn is looking is also a telltale sign of how well your program is working as well. So I'd also look at that. But just from hearing what you're talking about, it sounds like a good plan to me. All right. Next up is Terrence Stamp. He says, "Ron, regarding backpack sprayers, since I need to buy a new one, I know you sold the Yard Mastery sprayer, but what are your thoughts on the Flow Zone? Thanks. Also a great sprayer. I still have a Flow Zone. I have one of the original or the older versions of the is it the Typhoon 2? Typhoon 2, the one that's a dual, it's pretty much the Flow Zone version of the Yard Mastery sprayer, to where you have just a 2-position switch. So you've got like a high pressure setting, a low pressure setting. Like mine doesn't have, because if all the incarnations of the revisions of that mower, of that sprayer, there's like the one that I have, which is an older version, and then they went to like the potentiometer, like the variable, which I think was a terrible idea, and they didn't keep that for very long. And then they went to, I think the current one is they kept the rotary, but it's got like D10, so you can go like, you know, setting 1, 2, 3, 4, I think up to 5 different setting, but it locks it kind of like instead of being like infinitely variable, it has like actual settings. So also a good sprayer. They both either you will not go wrong with either one of them. The reason why I like the Yard Mastery is that it comes with both. I have the other one with all the spray nozzles you're going to need. So it comes with the flood jet, which is this guy right here, and it comes with the one for foliar sprays, which is this guy. So as far as being able to buy a sprayer and pretty much have everything you need just in the box, you know, that's a good choice. So you will not go wrong with either one of them, Terrence, is what I'm trying to tell you. They're both excellent sprayers, both well built. You know, if you take care of them, they're going to last you a really long time. So either one, again, I still got a flow zone. It still works fine. I mean, what are some benefits for the flow zone? Well, the Yard Mastery, they've updated the padding, so the padding on the Yard Mastery sprayer is better now too. Like on mine is like serial number 6, so the padding on mine was a little bit thinner, and the newer ones, I believe they've updated the padding to where it's a bit better. So you're not going to go wrong with either one. I will tell you this: I like the 2-position settings for the flow rates. Like I personally think like a 5-position switch, if all you're using it for is lawn care, is kind of silly. Like if you want, like for the low rate is what my sprayer lives on like 90% of the time. So when I'm spraying pre-emergent, herbicides, when I'm doing my foliar sprays, it's pretty much on the low setting. That's the setting that allows me to put out 1 gallon over 1,000 square feet using the included nozzles. The only time I ever use the high setting is if I go to someone's lawn that I'm spraying and they say they don't have irrigation, and I'm putting out, say, pre-emergent or fungicide. The high pressure setting allows me to put out like 2 gallons per 1,000 a bit like faster, easier. So in a case where I'm not going to run irrigation, or we're just be waiting for it to rain, I'm looking to get a little bit more water, a bit more carrier, that's when I'll use the high setting. So pretty much never, like on my lawn, practically never. So yeah, so for that reason, I like the Yard Master. It's just simpler, and it has everything you need and nothing you really don't like. There's less to go wrong. Like a 2-position switch, high, low, off, pretty easy. Versus like a rotary. I mean, I would argue there's more to go wrong with that than just a simple like 2-position switch. But you will not go wrong with either one of them. I have both. They're both great sprayers. The build quality on both of them is excellent. All right. Next up is Michael Thomas. He says, yeah, I think I will try the double stripes next time. It's a Rev 20. Yes, you do have, it looks like a narrower one. So, because given the size of your lawn, man, you could do doubles with that 20-inch, and it would look good. It would look proper. It would be right. I would absolutely do that. I like I like the plan. I would do doubles on that. But here's the thing. When you go to doubles, you are going to have to go through a period of resetting. So if it were me, how would I do this for me? If it were me, and here's why, and this is just me being, completely vain, and you can do what you want to do. If it were me, I would start towards the house, going towards the street. So in other words, the first stripe on the right side, I would want that one to be dark, because I think dark stripes, like as far as like for framing, look nicer than the light stripes. Like the driveway's kind of light, like pavement color, and then you have like a nice deep dark green stripe to kind of start the lawn off, to kind of frame things out, and then you go dark light all throughout. I think that's gonna be better. So if it were me, if you're gonna be doing this anyway, I would start at the house and then mow towards the street, because then like visually when you're looking at the lawn from the street, the first stripe, the one closest to the driveway, is going to be dark. That is what I would do. Yeah, that's how I would. I mean, you can do what you want, but that's how I would set it, because I think it's just gonna visually, it's going to make the contrast between the driveway and where the lawn begins like pop that much better. It's gonna look nicer. So give it a shot, man. Take pictures. Let us know how it works out. All right, next up is Jason Harrison. He says, from my double wides, I put a piece of electrical tape on the fence to mark the outer borders of the first and fourth passes. Helps a ton with consistent size and straightness. I like it. I like it, Jason. Whatever it takes, whatever tricks you can do. Like for me, I have like the chimney of the house in the background that lines up perfectly with the light stripe coming off of the left side of my patio. So if I mow, I can literally mow from that. Just don't look at anything else. Just mow straight towards that, and I'll get a nice straight line and just build everything out from that. That's how I set the stripes in my lawn. So yeah, whatever works for you, whatever you can be, whatever allows you to be consistent is what I would tell you to do. All right. All right. Next up is Havenkamp. He says, Harrison, for the tip. Thank you, sir. Nice. I like it. And then again, Jason Harrison, also an Academy member. So if you guys join, you'll also see him in there as well too. I'm not sure if Robert has influenced him to do the perennial ryegrass overseed. I think it's someone else is in there. I think it's maybe Alan. There's one other person that Robert has as a partner in crime to do a perennial ryegrass overseed this fall. I don't think it's Jason though. All right, Diamond is up next. Thank you, Ron. I live in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas area. Winters are mild. So you're like how we are. Like we have. If we get snow, it's like 1, maybe 2 days out of the year here, and it doesn't stay consistently cold for more than, and when I say consistently cold, I mean like sub 30 for typically more than a few days on end. I mean, it's rare. It's not like we live up north where it gets to be freezing and it's cold for like weeks and weeks and weeks. We don't have that really here in Georgia, which is kind of cool. Like last year, there's a time when it was like in the high 70s in December. So like the lawn goes dormant, but not really, not fully dormant. All right, Hugh Janus says, good evening, Ron. Should I keep putting down 1 pound of N per month or start tapering off? Southwest Kansas, thanks. Yeah, so for me, Hugh, I am feeding the lawn the same amount of nitrogen for September as I did like in April. So it's getting the same levels for September. For October, I'm going to begin backing it off. So for you, if the lawn is still actively growing, you're still mowing regularly, and if that's what you've been doing every month, a pound of N per month, and the lawn's been liking that, if you wanted to do that this month, I really wouldn't see a huge issue with it. When you get into October is when I would begin pulling it back a little bit. All right. So great question. I like where your mind is, and yeah, it's a good thing to start reducing the amount of nitrogen you're putting into the Bermuda lawn, especially as it begins to slow down, starts to go dormant. You reduce the chance of disease issues, both over the winter months and next spring in the form of like spring dead spot. So yeah. And then BSS Smith says Zenith is a seeded zoysia. Yes, I knew it started with a Z. Zorro, I think Zorro is the thicker blade. So like Zorro, El Toro, Compadre, I think they all are somewhat similar. They are I mean, as far as thicker leaf zoysia goes, it's a thicker leaf compared to say something like Xeon, which is really fine. So yeah. Again, if it were me, I would look into some of the finer leaf stuff. If you're going from St. Augustine to zoysia, like why not go with something that's a little bit finer? It looks kind of cool. All right, No Name says, let's get those likes up. Yeah, man, let's do that. We got 74 folks in the live stream, only 45 likes. I will put some intermission music on. LG has deserted us. He's not around anymore. He doesn't like us anymore. But I will still put on the music that he loved and so much so we can kind of listen to this in remembrance of LG while I also take a sip of my mix of stuff in a cup. All right. Question from Jamie Parker says, is it too late to seed in South Carolina? To seed what? If you're talking about like a perennial ryegrass overseed, no, not too late at all. As a matter of fact, the window for doing like a ryegrass overseed of say Bermuda grass is like starting now. Like now's a great time to do that. If you're talking about from a standpoint of establishing a new lawn, like a warm season lawn from seed, I personally would not. I would wait till next year, late April timeframe to do that. I really wouldn't be trying to establish a Bermuda lawn, or definitely not a zoysia lawn, via grass seed in in late August to early September. As a matter of fact, if I can, I'd really try and talk you out of trying to establish warm season turf grass from seed. Like, I mean, while it can work, like there's like when you open up the sod catalog for Bermuda grass or zoysia grass, like you get to just play with some really cool grasses. You got Celebration, Tahoma 31. What's the one that's super sod? Tiff Tuff. There's tons of different really, really nice fine leaf Bermuda grasses and zoysia grasses that you can only get in sod form. And for most people, they think that when they use seed as a way to establish a lawn, that they're saving money. But what you tend to find is, one, the lawn doesn't grow in as quickly and as evenly as it does when you just sod it. Because with sod, you go from like no lawn to just the lawn, like it's insta grass pretty much. And then the amount of water that is required to get a lawn to establish from grass seed tends to be a bit more for longer periods than what you could have to do for a sodded lawn. So unless you've got like a massive property, sub 15,000 square feet, like in my opinion, sod is really the way to go from a standpoint of you go from like no lawn to lawn instantly. And then the types of grasses you have access to are just a lot nicer. They're prettier, better cold tolerance. They're just bred with all the really cool features that you're not going to get in a lot of the improved common varieties. All right. So hope that helps, Jamie. If it's for perennial ryegrass, you're good to go. If it's Bermuda grass or zoysia grass, I would not. It's a bit late in the season, in my opinion, to establish a new lawn by a grass seed. All right, next up is Ray Ross. He says, Ron, I let my Bermuda get way too thick and verticut 16,000 square feet in the last 3 days. Bless your heart. Whew, that's a lot of work. You said it was a ton of work, and I thought you were exaggerating. You weren't. Holy smokes. Yeah, man. It's like verticutting is 16,000 square feet, so you got like 4,000 and change more than I do. That's I'm not surprised it took you 3 days to get that done. It's a ton of work, man. But it's great for the lawn. As far as, you're doing it now later in the season, but if next year, if you can plan to verticut in like June, late May, early June, even though it's a lot of work, if you can verticut then, you're really going to like the rest of your June and your July and August if you get a verticut in mid-season. It really does do a lot for keeping the cut quality nice and consistent throughout the season if you do something to thin the lawn out. But yeah, it's a lot of work, man. 16,000 square feet is nothing to sneeze at. All right, and next up is Lois Jean. He says, I did a soil test and ordered the products I needed, but I didn't get a chance to put it in the yard. I have cool season. What are the steps I need to do now? Thank you. Okay, so if you have a soil test results and you bought the products based on the soil test results, what I would tell you, say it's like fertilizer that you're putting out, right? You can still do that this time of year. I mean, cool season lawns are really starting to take off again. This is their second season really. I would mow first. I would go out and do a fresh mow of the lawn, and then if you want to fertilize with granular after that or the day after, that would be fine. Go ahead and water the fertilizer in after you're done, and then that's pretty much all there is to it. There's not a whole lot else. I'm not sure what other products other than fertilizer your soil test results said you needed, but let's say your soil test results also said you needed lime. You could do that as well too. So same advice. Mow, put your lime out, put your fertilizer out, water it all in, and then just resume your mowing whenever the next time it is for you to do that. 2, 3, 4 days later on is what I would tell you, Lois. So there's not really any special guidance other than I would do a fresh cut. I would do a fresh mow before I put the fertilizer out, because what you don't want to do is say your lawn. I mean, not that your lawn is overgrown. I'm sure your lawn is not. But let's say you went out there and you put out fertilizer, and then the next day you go mow. And if your lawn was a bit taller, some of the prill can likely get hung up in the grass. You may pick some of it up. So what I would say is a fresh cut and then fertilize afterwards. And then you water is going to give more time for that fertilizer to work its way down through the canopy into the soil. It's just a better way of doing it. Like, for example, what I did today, what I'm telling you is exactly what I did today. Like, I mowed first, and then I put out Humic Max 1608 on my lawn. So I didn't put the fertilizer out first and then go mow, because then I very well might pick up, kind of unlikely with Humic Max, but I still might pick up some of the prill through mowing. But if you're doing it the other way, where you mow first, apply your fertilizer, water, then you're doing it in the order that makes the most sense and you're minimizing the chances that you're going to pick up any of the fertilizer with your mower. So Hope that helps, Lois. Have fun working the lawn this weekend. It's a great weekend to do it. You know, if you're not out traveling or hanging out with, you know, family or friends, it's a great weekend to get out there and do something fun in the lawn. Carl Clarkson says, hit that like button, y'all. Definitely, guys. We got 74 folks in the live stream and only 55 likes. We can certainly do better than that. Hit that like button. It's a free way to support the channel. All right, Ken Wallace is up next. He says, hey, Ron, greetings on this Labor Day weekend. I'm listening to your hide-to-cut information. On your Toro, do you have a hide-to-cut kit? If not, how are you able to maintain 0.75 inches? I use an AccuGauge. I have, actually, I can show you. I have one of these. I can break it out here real quick. I'll get all my hats down. I can show you the piece of equipment that I use to set my height of cut, so I can do this without making a mess. All right, so what you're going to want to invest in is one of these bad boys. What this is you've got this is like the fancy version of just replacing the bar, screw, and ruler. So this is an AccuGauge. You see there, it's got like a spring loaded I don't know, almost like a spring loaded catch that we use to measure the distance from the distance that the bed knife is set to. So this part of the bar will sit on the front roller. This part of the bar will sit on the rear drum. And then when you press this will clip on to, like, let's say this were, I don't have a good example. Let's say like this, our sticker, this is the edge of the bed knife, right? So the bed knife, it would catch on there like this. And then depending on what your height of cut is, you'd be able to read the indicator and know what your height is. And with the Toro, it's locked in. So there's two bolts on the side. I think they're 4/16ths or 5/8, 4/16. I'm not sure what it is. I think they're 4/16ths. Sorry, 9/16ths rather. So you undo those. And then there's two bolts on top, like for like jack screws that you use to adjust the height of the left and right side of the roller. So whenever you are setting the height of cut using one of these, again, I'm making it sound a lot more complicated than it is. It really is not that hard. You put this on one side, adjust the screw till the height moves to where you want it, and then snug the locking bolt, come over to the other side, repeat the same thing. And then after you've done both sides, check them. What I would tell you is this: if you're making a big change, so say, when I say big, like more than 1/4 inch, I would do a bit on each side. In other words, I wouldn't jack one side down to say 1/2 inch and leave this up here at 3/4. I would kind of work them both down and then just kind of check both sides as you're going down. Because if you move one side, make a big adjustment on one side, then you move and you think it's correct, and you move the other side down, you're going to find that this side is going to be off. So for bigger changes, 1/4 inch or so, just kind of lower the roller or raise the roller together as much as you can. And then you use this, just, make sure your height is within, on both sides is within, I like to get it within 2 thousandths if I can, 2 thou. It can be kind of challenging to do that, but like 2 thou, the tighter you can get it, the better. And then lock the two bolts on the side in. Once that's done, it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? The way the Toro is set up, really, once those two bolts are set, the height of cut really doesn't change. So in other words, like what I'm trying to say is maintaining 3/4 inch with the mower is not hard. Like once you set the height of cut on it, it does not move. So it's not hard to do that. Hope that helps, Ken. If you're interested, I've got a video that shows actually how to use the AccuGauge from like 4 or 5 years ago. I can link that for you in the chat. But as far as how to set the height of cut with a greens mower, you really want to invest in one of these. And AccuProducts sells them. It's a great. They have mine is an analog one, but they have digital ones too, which are kind of nice. Worthwhile the investment. And the cool thing about these, even if you have a mower that has has like a adjustment it's an easier to adjust, like some of the outlets, right? If you still want to make sure that what the sticker says or what the adjustment on the mower says that the height of cut is, you actually want to know that it's truly that, you really need to use one of these. Like you really do, because I have not yet seen one, even like on my outlet, like the Sterling or any other mowers, like inserts the name, that where whatever the gradient or whatever the ruler that's built into the mower is saying. Like, if you set the this many clicks, this is half an inch. If you actually go measure it, it's going to be off. It's going to be off just slightly. So if you want to get it the weight like exactly where you want, then getting an AccuGauge is really the way to do it. So hope that helps, Ken. They are not that expensive, not that cheap, but they're not that expensive. And it's one of those things that you're gonna buy it. You're gonna buy it one time, and you're never gonna really replace it. So worth having, in my opinion. You can tell how often I use mine. Literally, it comes off the wall, off my shelf back here, like twice, 2 times in a year. Really, it comes off whenever I get it back from the sharpener. We get it back from the company that I send it out to get the sharpening work done. I get it out to check the motor to make sure that, it's always correct, but I still check it anyway to make sure that both sides are good. And then if I, like this year, I started out at 5/8, and then when we got into the hotter time of the year, I bumped it up to 3/4 of an inch. So I had to get it off the shelf again and check again and make my adjustments. And then it's going to stay there really until when I put this back up, it'll stay there until like really next year. Because if I decide to go back down to 5/8, I'll just have the place that I used to do the grinding work just to do it for me. All right, so hope that helps, Ken. Invest in an AccuGauge. It's a great tool to have. I think Robert has a digital one because he got to be fancy. He doesn't want the old school like analog. He got to be fancy. All right, Joaquin Velasquez, he says, hey, Ron, greetings on Labor Day weekend. I sent you an email from Joaquin Velasquez regarding a small issue on my neighbor's lawn. Do I have any pictures from you? Oh, yeah, okay, it just came in, yeah. Okay, what's the question? He says, my neighbor has a late 70s, has dead spots in the backyard, have no knowledge of issues, but it'd be wise to ask you. Okay, so let me get the picture up here and I'll show everybody what we're working with here. Looking at the picture, I will tell you that I'm going to lean towards there's something underneath the soil, Joaquin, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so this is the picture that he sent, guys. His neighbor's got like a spot or a patch in the lawn. So if you take a look at this, assuming it loads, if you look at that picture, you see how, go here, you see how squared off that is? It looks almost like there's a piece of plywood, a piece of a board, a rock, there's something, it's not really as circular. It looks almost squarish to me, especially this late in the season. So what I would tell you to do, Joaquin, is to get a screwdriver, get like a screwdriver and see if you can stick it in that. What I think you're going to find is you're probably going to be able to insert it an inch or two and it's going to stop. And you're either going to run into like a rock or a piece of concrete or a piece of wood that's there that you're going to want to remove. And then that should make it easier. That will make it easier for the grass to spread into that area. But looking at it, it looks, just my initial impression is it looks like a square almost to me. And that points to like there's something perhaps just beneath the surface there that's preventing the grass from growing there. That would be what I would check first. That's what I would check first if it were me, all right? Because looking at the surrounding grass, you don't see like a ring, like the grass isn't really discolored or anything that leads me to think there could be a disease issue per se. But just the fact that it looks square makes me think that there's something just beneath the surface that's causing the grass to not do well, all right? So to give that a shot, see if you can try that out tomorrow. Screwdriver, like try and push it into the soil. If it stops, get a shovel out and dig out or remove whatever is just beneath the surface, and then you should find the grass will work better moving into that area. Okay. All right. Hope that helps. Next up is Good Man's Journey. He says, how long should you wait before applying iron to your lawn after overseeding, as well as fertilizer? Both would be applied with a backpack sprayer. 1 month, I'd say 30 days. So, if you go out and you put out a fertilizer whenever you get the new lawn established or when you do your seeding work, then a month from the time you do that, the grass is likely going to be growing already. Hopefully you'll be mowing it already. So a month later is when I would consider, going out to fertilize with whatever you decide you want to use. So if you want to put out iron or whatever you want to use, that would be the time that I would do it, because this is assuming that you're putting out a fertilizer whenever the grass seed is also planted. So 30 days would be what I would say. All right, Ken Wall says, I also remember you mentioned something about cutting every day, especially when you are expecting company. Can you re-explain this? Thanks. Yeah. So the long and short of it is this, Ken. The biggest difference, if you take like the nutrient program aside, if you take the biggest difference between a golf course, the golf turf, and residential lawns, is that golf, like the fairways, the tee boxes, and especially the greens, get mowed far more frequently than residential lawns do. Like most people mow their lawns that don't watch a channel like this, mow their lawns once every 2 weeks. If they're doing really good, maybe once a week. Whereas golf courses, the greens are mowed every single day. The fairways typically every other day. You know, tee boxes, same thing, every other day. You know, they're trying to and there's by doing that, you get a more manicured appearance. The turf just tends to be healthier, assuming you're using sharp equipment. So when I say if you're going to increase your mowing frequency, if you want the lawn to look really nice when you have company coming over, like leading up to that, let's say you're mowing the lawn every 2 days normally, right? Or every 3 days normally. Leading up to, well, when you're having company over, if you can keep the same height of cut, but just simply increase your mowing frequency for the 3 days leading up. So 3 days before they show up, you mow every day leading up to that, you're gonna see a noticeable visual improvement in the grass. It's gonna look better. So that's not practical to do that year round unless you just got a whole lot of time. You really like mowing grass. But when you're for special events or you just want the lawn to look really pristine, then increasing your mowing frequency, again, assuming your equipment is sharp, you know, you're not out there causing unnecessary damage, is a way to just to really improve the visual appearance of your lawn. So that's what I'm talking about when I say increase your mowing frequency whenever you have company coming over, or like 4th of July weekend, if you want it to look really nice when folks are just driving through the neighborhood. That's a way to do it. All right. All right. Terrence Stamps is up next. He says, hope, last comment question. Right. Okay. Well, last for the next few minutes, I guess, right? He says, over the last 2 summers, I've noticed because I have cool season grass, my grass is burned up by late July. Mowing twice per week isn't good. So I've gone to once a week for now. Yeah. So what you're really experiencing, Terrence, is that it's just the fact that during the summer, cool season grass just really struggles. It's really difficult depending on where you are, and whether you're using a moisture manager or not, whether the type of grass that you have will also weigh in on this as well. But during the summer, cool season grass is not happy. You know, some of it can die off. It can be lose in the best case scenario. The color is not going to be as nice as it's going to be in the spring and in the fall. In more extreme cases, it can go dormant, or it can even die. You know, if you're not watering it enough and you have a really, really hot snap of hot weather. So, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's not uncommon for your lawn to not look its best in July if you have cool season grass. If you want to maintain it, if you want to mow it a bit taller, if that's something you want to try and you find that it looks better when you do that, then yeah, I'd be fine with that. I mean, just whatever works for you. But it's more, the struggles you're seeing are more they're more attributed to the temperature, like the time of year, than it is the fact that you're mowing every 2 days versus mowing every 4 days. All right. So hope that helps. And then Robert Rainey says, me, Alan, and Jimmy are on that perennial ryegrass. Oh, so you got a third one. Okay, I didn't know that. So I knew it was you. I know you guys were chatting about it in the group. So it's you and Alan, and then you also got Jimmy. You see, I don't know if you're not good to hang out with Robert. So what you're doing, you're starting like a perennial ryegrass segment of the Golf Course Lawn Academy. So you, Alan, Jimmy, huh? For now, might be more. It might be even more if you guys keep it up. It'll be cool. Take pictures, man. It'll be cool to share it with everybody so you can see how your lawns do with the overseed. Joaquin Velasco says, hello, sir. Thanks for your information. It's been valuable. It helped with lots of things in my yard. Yeah, I already answered the question, Joaquin. Based on what I'm seeing, I would take a look and make sure there's no debris just beneath the surface. That's what I would look at. All right. Next up is BSS Smith. He says, hey, Ron, I sent you an email about Prism being the grass at East Lake during the PGA finals. I don't know if I have anything from you, BSS Smith. When did you, let me see if I have anything in an email. Oh, Prism. Zoysia. Oh yeah, you said yeah. So you said that yeah, for the tour championship that the surrounds were Prism. Cool, very nice. Yeah, I know Eastlake had a had Zoysia. I thought that it was Xeon before at one point, but maybe they've switched to this now. So cool, cool to know. All right. Ray Ross says, Ron, how did you say that name without laughing? Big props to you on your professionalism. I'm not sure which name you're talking about. Maybe I missed it. Maybe there's I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not sure which name you're talking about. But all right. And you see, everyone wants to know now. Hugh says, "What name is that, Ray?" So yeah, we're all curious. All right. Mace says, "Hey, Ron. Ron and family. Hope you are doing well. Been a bit busy. Ron and stuff in the cup. You can still seed cool season. And what's the cutoff? Your front lawn looks fantastic. Still love that ryegrass. Okay, so as far as your cool season lawn, like the entire month of September, like again, Robert and crew are getting ready to do theirs. Like I have a buddy that has a spray business and he does some ball fields, baseball fields, and he oversees them with ryegrass. He's getting ready to do that in September. So like the entire month of September, you're good to do that if you want, Mace. Just know what you're getting into. Know what you're getting into. All right, next up is Archie Amos. He says, "Good evening, young man." What's going on, Archie? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. He says, "Looking forward to a great show. I won't be headed back to my South Carolina property until October, and then only for a month. Was thinking of doing a mix of Celsius and Spectacle Flow. Thoughts?" You could do that, Archie. So if you got some broadleaf weeds in the lawn and you want to get your pre-emergent down and clean that up, that would be fine. The only thing for me that I would suggest is to omit surfactant. Like I would not use spreader sticker along with the Celsius if you're putting it out with pre-emergent. That's the only thing if it were me, I would change. But outside of that, if you're just looking to save time, you could put some Celsius in the tank along with Spectacle. I've not done Celsius and Spectacle. I've done Certainty and Spectacle, and then in the springtime, I've done Prodiamine, Celsius, and Certainty in the spring. And again, all those different combinations work fine. In all those cases, I did not add pre-emerge. I didn't add surfactant to the tank in the blend. That's the only thing I would tell you that I would not do. Okay, let's see here. Next up is Ken Wallace. He says, "I'm familiar with I have an AccuGauge with my Toro, from a Toro 1018, but it only goes up to 0.625 and is not able to go to 0.75. Huh, interesting. Yeah, so my mower goes to, I want to say it's 0.25 up to 1.25 inches, I believe is the range on my 1600 Ken. I believe that's right. I think it's on my 1600, I want to say it is 0.25 up to 0.75 inches. I believe that's what it is. It's 0.25 up to 1.25. But as far as the height of cut, like given the reel that I have in there, I have an 11 blade reel. I really don't want to mow much higher than 0.75 inches with that reel. If I wanted to go much above that, I really should be using like an 8 blade. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have a 1018 to know, but yeah, mine goes above 0.75 inches, and it goes, I believe, as low as 1/4 inch. So I guess maybe the 1018 is different. Okay, Mace says, "What do you put down to winterize, Ron, for cool season? 16.0 max, I guess 16.08, I guess you're saying max or something else. Can you still shave, get rid of your lawn, this dead turf, I guess you're talking about scalp, aerate, level a bit in seed? Oh, post-emergent using tenacity. Okay, so for a cool season lawn, I would continue feeding it as normal. For most folks, they tend to use the 12-0-24 or Humic Max. Either one of those will work well for this time of year if you have a cool season lawn. And then if you wanted to aerate, that's fine. If you want to level, again, a cool season lawn and also put out some seed, that's also fine. And then for post-emergent weed control, yeah, tenacity for some spot spraying or a 3-way, that would work as well too. It depends on the weeds you're dealing with. But yeah, if the weeds you're trying to control, if tenacity is able to control them, then yes, that would be fine. So yes, as far as winterizing, so here's the thing. I don't really do anything special to my lawn as far as additional nutrient inputs as we're getting close to the end of the season. So for October, I will put out the 12-0-24 fertilizer, and then I'm pretty much done with nitrogen inputs in my lawn until next year. The only other things I do to close out the season are a fungicide app. So in October, I'll do a fungicide app, and then in November, I'll also do a fungicide app. But then that's it, really. I do that, and we hang out and just wait till springtime to start feeding it again. I might still mow throughout the rest of the year, depending on how much the grass is growing. But yeah, I don't do any kind of like loading. Like I think like some of the cool season folks like to. I guess it's fun with them to go out and like stack a bunch of nitrogen as we get close to the end of the season. I don't do that. It's typically not really recommended for warm season grass, but I definitely don't do that on my lawn. So yeah. So hope that helps, Mace. 1608 humic max. So I'll show you really quickly. So either one of these, you go to shop and then lawn fertilizer. Either one of these guys, 1608 or the 12024, either one of these two options would be fine for your cool season lawn. If your soil test results say you need phosphorus or you're overseeding, then the 14714 would be good because it has a bit of phosphorus in it to help, with root development. So, but just for general feeding and you're not overseeding the lawn, either one of these guys are going to work well on your cool season lawn. Okay, either one will work well. All right, Tom Hoffenkamp's up next. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Is it normal to get a fine tinge of brown as 1 to 2% of the blades die neatly? Can I control it as the season moves towards fall, or is it inevitable and needs turf raking?" Yeah, so I'd say turf raking. So you're saying like as you begin mowing the lawn throughout the year, like just starting to see like some brown, some dead material in the lawn. Yeah, that's normal. It's going to happen even if you're bagging clippings. And if you want to get rid of that turf rake, a light turf rake, it didn't take much. Like a light turf rake is the way to do it because you'll just clean all that loose and dead debris out, and then the color is going to pop and look really nice. But yes, it's completely normal, Tom. Even if you bag your clippings, it's still something that you're going to experience. Completely normal. He said, "Is it happening all year and I've just been lazy? I haven't turf raked in 2 months." Yeah, it's happening all year. You're probably just seeing it now, more now as it's accumulating. But yeah, if you haven't turf raked for a couple of months, not surprised. Not surprised, and it is completely normal. Mars B's going on. What's on? It's been a minute, man. He says, "Hey, Ron, it's been a while. Hopefully you're doing all right." He says, "My lawn has slowly gotten worse the past few months." That's not good. "So I'm burnt out on all things lawn care." That is not good. I'm sorry to hear that. I know you have a fescue lawn. So during the summer months can be a bit challenging for fescue, but yeah, don't give up, man. Don't give up. Says, "I'll be tackling it soon and doing prep work for an overseed." Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, Mars. With cool season lawns, you guys really you get 2 seasons. You get the spring, you really get to enjoy it, and then the fall, you really get to enjoy it, and in the summer, you're just holding on for dear life to hope you don't lose too much through it getting burnt up. So it sounded like you got on the losing end of the lawn getting damaged from the summer temps. But I mean, now you're entering like your second season, so I wouldn't give up. Your lawn can still look really good the rest of this year, and you've already demonstrated that you know what you're doing to be able to get it looking really nice. Because I mean, last year you showed, from my understanding, you did like I think it was like a septic tank renovate or some work that you had done, and then you did grass seed, and the lawn came in, from what I remember from the pictures, really nice. So it's not going to take you very much to get that fescue looking really nice. I would not give up. Would not give up. I know it can be disheartening, but think of it this way. That's just the way grass is. Like my lawn, even if I look at it now, like the best it looks really is in May and June, in my opinion. July looks okay. August looks okay. But really, like I get like 3 weeks out of the entire season where I can walk outside and look at my lawn and say, you know what? This looks good. I am most proud of this. And the rest of the year, it's either kind of working up to that or it's slowly falling off from that. So it's, grass. Having your grass look incredible year-round, consistently the entire time, is kind of an unrealistic expectation. But you getting, and again, depending on the standards you have, you're to a person that's not really into lawn care, or I mean, any of my neighbors would look at my lawn, they say it looks great, all season. But for me, like there's a particular time in the year when it looks its absolute best, and for your lawn, it's probably the same thing. And I'd say that now that you're entering into the fall, your lawn's going to get its second wind. So don't get discouraged. You can absolutely bring it back from any kind of any damage you may have suffered over the summer months. All right. So don't keep hope alive. Jamie Parker says, "Thank you, sir. You're very welcome, Jamie." And then next up we have Gary Kellett Jr. He says, "Hey, Ron, it's been a very cool here in Chicago. I usually spot spray for weeds, but just noticed Let's Go Selective Weed Spray. It says to spray 24 hours after mowing the grass. Why is that? I don't know. Most post-emergent herbicides, I recommend waiting a couple of days before you after mowing to spray. But if there's whatever's in there, as they say, to spray the 24 hours later, I guess whatever the label says. I'm not familiar with the products. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. But if you want to email me, Gary, like a link, send me send it to me. We can chat back and forth over email about it if you want. But general guidance is at least 2 days from the time you mowed to the time you use post-emergent herbicides for best results. All right. Next up, we got Hoken. He says, "Thank you, Ron. He ordered the soil test kit from your site. I have checked the spots with a metal rod, but nothing is beneath it within a foot deep, just plain dirt." So there's nothing underneath that. I mean, there's some moss there, moss or algae there a bit, Hoeken. I mean, it could be a lower spot, but the fact that there's no grass growing in there at all, I mean, unless the picture just isn't showing it well, I can't see it being that much lower than the rest of the surrounding area to where grass just won't grow in there. I mean, get the soil test done and send me the results, and I'll see what I could do to help out with it. But I mean, my first initial thoughts were that there's something beneath the surface, but you've just debunked that. So we'll have to wait for the soil test results and go from there. All right, next up is LM. Oh, I can't hear Hugh's name without snickering. What is Hugh's? I don't know. Okay. So next up is Gavin Moore. He says, "Hey, Ron, I spent all day first aerated 8,000 square feet, put new topsoil on my side area, peat moss." I'm not sure what that means. It's like a 1,700 square feet. Use a lawn roll for good seed to soil contact. Now I'm tired to dominate. Okay, so pretty much you did a lot of work in the lawn today. So you aerated 8,000 square feet, and then on the side part of your lawn, which is like 1,700 square feet, I guess you put some seed and peat moss. Cool. Yeah, sounds like a good workout, Gavin. Sounds like you put a lot of work in. So yeah, well, hopefully all the prep work that you did will pay off. Send us pictures. Send us pictures. Let's see here. Next up is Ephraim Arriaga. He says, "Hello, everyone. Grilling while listening to Ron to learn more. Hit that like button." Hey, man. So hey, Ephraim, you say you're grilling. What are you grilling? You can't just leave us hanging like that. You're doing ribs, chicken, what, brisket? What are we working with here? I mean, well, I guess you wouldn't really grill brisket. You kind of smoke that. But I mean, like, what are we working with? What you got in the grill? You left out that important detail. All right. Next up is Mars Beads. He says, "Thanks. I've been bummed about it, but I won't give up." Yeah, don't give up. I mean, all lawns have periods where they are looking better, and they go through cycles. It is not a practical expectation to expect the lawn to look like mint the entire year, the entire season, always in peak appearance. All lawns have a time of the year when they look better than others. And again, this is somewhat subjective. For you, you're going to see it, but I can guarantee you, for the average person, your lawn looks better than most lawns in your neighborhood, even when it's not looking its absolute best. All right. Next up, we have a Hailed Demon. He says, "We are expecting rain every evening this weekend, would it be okay to spray my yard with 22.3 and PGR in the morning if you don't expect rain until the afternoon, or wait till the next week? That'd be fine. As long as you have 3 to 4 hours for it to dry, hail demon, you're going to be good to go. Like what you're describing, I have done myself. Like I've had rain coming in the afternoon, and I had pretty much the morning to get that done. And I've sprayed my growth regulator, release zero carbon kit, and the 22.3, my growth regulator, do all of that in the morning, and it's been fine. So as long as it's not going to rain right afterwards, then you're good to go. All right, next up we have Chuck Thomas, not Chuck Taylor, but Chuck Thomas. You know, it's funny, Chuck. You know, every time, what is new is old, and old is new. Remember when I was like a kid, like Chuck Taylors or the Converse, like that's what you had to wear if like what the poor kids wore. Like you didn't have Nikes, like you wore the canvas shoes, and then because they were not cool, and then they came back to being cool. So I'm not sure if Chuck Taylors are cool now or not, but you know, for a while there, 10, 15 years ago, they were pretty cool to wear again. All right, anyway, segue. Happy weekend, Ron. You're all about the mow, but for me, the spray rules. Best feeling when the spray runs out exactly right. I can see that. So if you have got a 4,000 square foot lawn, you got a 4-gallon sprayer, and you get your mix and your application just right, I can see how that could be pretty rewarding. I could see that, Chuck. I could see that. Next up is Tech Savvy. It says, hey, Ron, what are your thoughts on Southpaw, given that its main ingredients are essentially the same as Celsius and Certainty? It sounds like a cool product from a standpoint of if your goal is to save time. I still don't think that it really replaces Celsius and Certainty in the sense that, you know, if you are, for a lawn where you're just trying to do a cleanup, then it has benefits. But a situation where the benefits of using, say, Celsius and Certainty separately and combining them is you have more control over the rate of the individual product. So for example, take Certainty as an example, right? If all I care about are sedges, being able to spray just Certainty is better than mixing Celsius and Certainty. And using a product like Southpaw, which is more expensive because you don't need the broadleaf component of it for that particular weed. You know, if I'm spraying for, say, Poa annua, where I'm using Certainty, where I need to bump the rate up, easier to do that with Certainty and have control of getting the application just right for the weed that I'm controlling, versus having to increase that rate with Southpaw, and then you're also spraying a herbicide that isn't really effective for that particular weed that we're trying to control. So I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad product. I think it definitely has some merit. I personally would not substitute it, use it as a substitute for, I would not get rid of Celsius and Certainty and go just to that. I think the benefits of having them separate outweigh the benefits of having a combination product. Because, you know, case in point, this time of year, I've had Spurge growing in my mulch beds and a few spots in my lawn. The only thing I really need for that is Celsius. Like I would not go out and mix Certainty along with it because I don't need that. So in that case, if you're using a product like Southpaw, which again will work fine for that, like there's a portion of it that you're essentially wasting product. So it's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I think some folks that have used it and have enjoyed the results. They've said that it seems to be pretty effective as far as like a one and done type of product. But it's just not as good as the two separate. Kind of like for the same reason why I am not. Well, you take like for example, like Celsius Extra, right? So you have this regular Celsius, and you also have the Extra product, which is Celsius and I think Sedgehammer. Essentially the same ingredients in Sedgehammer's in Celsius Extra, which is kind of a cool product, right? It's a combination product. So why would you use, if you have Celsius Extra, why would you use that? Why would you still use Certainty if you had Celsius Extra? Well, for the reason being that the Sedgehammer, the halosulfuron that's in Sedgehammer is great for controlling sedges, not as good in my opinion as Certainty, and it also doesn't do anything against Poa annua. So for, you know, having I look at having Celsius and Certainty as having scalpels. You're able to really dial in your herbicide app for the weed you're targeting, versus using a combination product that isn't really it doesn't replace them. Like just like Celsius Extra doesn't replace Celsius Uncertainty, Southpaw, in my opinion, also is not as good as Celsius Uncertainty. They're both more convenient. So Celsius Extra is a great product if you just want something that's convenient to do some sedge control and broadleaf control in just one product. Kind of cool. Same thing for Southpaw. If you want a product that's going to do some sedge control and some broadleaf control, all one product, also fits the bill for that. But it's not as good as the control you get of being able to add these to the tanks separately, in my opinion. Okay, next is where did I leave off? Is Maizan. He says, hey, what's up, Ron? How many days in between do we have to wait to put down fertilizer and pre-emergent? None. You said after aerating. None. So you could aerate, fertilize, and do pre-emergent all on the same day if you wanted to. And that is the order that I would do them in. If you're gonna, if the order to do all those practices would be, I'd aerate, I put out the fertilizer afterwards, and I would put the pre-emergent afterwards. That's the rate. That's the day. And again, you could do them all on the same day if you had time. And Ifrin says, I'm doing some ribs for me and the wife, cooking some chicken, and what we call here fajita meat. We're from South Texas. Cool. Sounds tasty, man. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, Toronto George says 5/8 all season. My settings around here are 7/16 and 7/8. I feel like the cut looks better at 5/8, but the color is king at 7/8. So yeah, as you go taller, the color seems to be a bit better. I would love to do 7/16, but I think that's next year. So just under half an inch for next year. Go for it. We'll see. And then Jared says, should I go 7/8 the rest of the season? It depends, man. I mean, it's all up to you, Jared. If you like the way the lawn looks at 7/8 more so than 5/8, then yeah. If you like, I mean, whichever one looks better for you and also fits your schedule and time. So if you've got, if the time you have to be out on the lawn and how the lawn visually looks, all kind of come together and it looks pretty cool with it at 7/8, then just do that. Yeah, whatever looks better. All right, Toucan Sam is up next. He says, speaking of Spurge, are you going with a high rate of Celsius for Spurge? When I sprayed on my Spurge, it seems to energize it. Yeah, it definitely doesn't energize it on my lawn. Yeah, I go with the, it's like the 0.226 ounces in 2 gallons of water. That's what I use for spraying Spurge along with surfactant. And it does not energize the Spurge in my lawn and at all in my case. It's within 10 days or so, it's brown and crispy. Like you can touch it and it flakes off. It's that dead. So yeah, it works. Celsius is a really good product for Spurge, both in mulch beds, but also on the lawn. Because again, it's really good for controlling it and not damaging your desirable grass in the process. All right, Gary Kelly Jr. is up next. He says, sorry, Ron, it's momentum, weed spray, and it's 48 hours after mowing the spot spray. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, so pretty much that sounds more correct. Most labels, when it comes to using post-emergent herbicides, will say after you mow, 2 days before you spray. And that is correct. That's normal. That sounds about right. That's 24 hours doesn't sound right to me. So you not just look at the label, it says 48 hours, which sounds a lot like 2 days. That makes more sense. All right, Jared George says, what are the fall soil temps I need to watch for to put out pre-emergent? Yeah, so whenever the soil temperatures are in the low 70s moving cooler is when I would get your pre-emergent out. And as always, a bit early is better than a bit late when it comes to pre-emergent. So for me, because I'm using Spectacle, this weekend, like tomorrow, I'll be putting out Spectacle on my lawn. And then again in December, I'll be spraying another app of Spectacles. Because again, I just want to be ahead of it. There's no reason to wait all the way into October to put out pre-emergent because you might have some weeds that are already germinating, and you're not going to get the control versus if you just got it out a little bit earlier. So for me, I would apply now, and then I would apply again in in December-ish time frame, assuming you're in your climate is similar to what I have. And again, that's shown out in our calendar on the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you go to resources and lawn care schedule and the monthly application schedule, you'll see that in the springtime, we recommend pre-emergent, February-ish, March timeframe before the 5-day soil temperature reaches 55 degrees. And if we scroll down here to the month of Septiembre, you'll see here it says for fall pre-emergent is in September. So early September is when we recommend it. So spectacle for warm season grass, prodiamine for cool season grass is what I would say to go. So that's it's all right here on the store in case you're interested, and I'll link this in the chat for any of you guys have been like, I didn't know you guys had like a calendar that shows that. I can type. There you go. So you can take advantage of that. All right, and then I guess our last question of the evening, unless something else pops in from Mr. Jared George, he says, if you thought the color and stripes from passers look better at 7/8, but walking on the lawn yourself and looking at it at 5/8 looks so much cleaner, but the color and stripes don't pop like 7/8, I would say just pick one. I think you're splitting hairs here, Jared. You are noticing it more than anyone else that's an onlooker. I think if you told someone, hey, this is 5/8 or it's 7/8, in both cases, folks are going to be like, man, the lawn looks spectacular. So whichever one you like better is what I think you should go with. All right. That's what I would tell you. I mean, given that temps are cooling off now, if 5/8 was more of a problem in the summertime, you might want to revisit 5/8 now because the grass is going to be growing a little bit slower. So maybe you can get by with it. But either way will work well. Whichever looks better for you. Myson says, is it too late to level my lawn? I live in Austin, Texas. Temps was about 97 degrees today. It's really your call, Myson. I'm not a fan of telling folks to do top dressing on warm season grass in September, which is basically what we're in now. Because if you go heavy and temps begin to cool off sooner than we expect, then you may not have enough time for the grass to really grow through it. So it's really your call. I just really don't recommend once you get past like mid-August, getting out there and really doing top dressing unless you're South Georgia, Florida, South Texas, Arizona, like parts of the country where just it's hotter for a lot longer. Then yeah, that'd be fine. But here's why I say that, and this is as general guidance. Because if I go and tell someone, yeah, man, you want to go top dress your lawn, level your lawn in September, yeah, go for it. That's absolutely no problem with that. Invariably, someone's going to go out and top dress their lawn, and they're going to put like an inch of material down, and their lawn's not going to grow through it, right? So if you're being sensible about it, where you're putting out a light amount of material, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of material, if you have 2 weeks of temperatures like that in the forecast, so 90s, then the lawn should have no problem growing through it. But what I don't want you to do is go out there and say, if 1/2 inch is good, 1 inch is better, and go and like bury the lawn in sand and then it not grow through it, and you have like a mess on your hands. So as long as you're going to exercise restraint in the amount of material that you put down, and the 10-day forecast says that you're going to have temps like that for the next 10 to 14 days, next 2 weeks or so, then you should be fine with doing the leveling. But as a general rule, mid-August, I tell folks, if you have warm season grass, don't do it, because that way that's pretty safe advice, and you're not going to get in trouble, which is why I tend to give it. All right, next up is John Donahue. He says, hey, Ron, he says, just want to say thanks for your knowledge. You are very welcome, sir. I experimented for 2 years with herbicides on centipede. Finally, your advice on Celsius and Certainty combo does the magic. Much appreciated. Glad to hear that, John. I mean, again, unless you got Bahia grass, Celsius and Certainty is the truth, man. It's really, really good combination. The reason why I like them so much is you can spray them pretty much over a broad temperature range. So if you have someone that's brand new to spraying post-emergent herbicides and they got weeds in their lawn in Texas when it's 97 degrees out and you have to go after some Spurge with Celsius, I feel a lot more confident that you'll do that and not negatively impact your lawn versus me saying, yeah, go out. If you go out and use like a 3-way when it's 97 degrees out, you're likely going to discolor the lawn. I mean, it's not going to kill it, but it's going to look a little bit ugly, and that, Celsius is a way to avoid that. So as far as a combo that covers a broad range of weeds, most of the common weeds you're going to find in warm season turf grass that can be used for a broad temperature range, no real temperature restrictions, like they check all the boxes. It's really hard to beat Celsius and Certainty, which is why I talk about it, and we recommend them so much. Like we could carry a bunch more herbicides. Like we have manufacturers that reach out to us all the time saying, hey, you guys should really consider this in your program and start adding this. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's like another way. It's like another tool that does the same thing. What we have already works, and like more options are not always necessarily a good thing. So have something that works and people get good results with it. It's less education than having like 17 different products that all do pretty much the same thing, and have to have all the education that goes along with when you would use one and not the other. So that's the reasoning behind that. So, but I'm glad to hear that it helps with controlling weeds in your centipede lawn, John. And then next up, it says, Sheldon says, hey, Ron, I look at the application calendar on your site. I'm surprised where aeration appears in the calendar. What are the advantages of aerating a cool season lawn during the summer? I wouldn't aerate a cool season lawn in the summer. I'll have to check it and see. I'm not sure where we have, if that's on there, that I should, if it's in the, if any of it's probably in the graphic. Let me look here and see where that would be. Yeah, I may have to look. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's a good catch, Sheldon. So yeah, what he's saying is not what's written here in the text, but it's the graphic that needs to be updated. So yeah, it's a good catch. Yeah, so really it should be in the spring and in the fall, Sheldon. So I will get that corrected. So good call. Thanks for that. We will get it fixed. All right. Well, cool, guys and gals. I believe that's our last comment of the evening. It is Labor Day weekend, so I will cue the outro music. Hopefully you guys are going to get out there and get to, play in the lawn, get some mowing done, have fun getting your pre-emergent out. If not, just mowing and fertilizing or whatever it is you have to do. I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to get your pre-emergent out if you're not planning on doing any kind of overseeding on your lawn. It's one of the best decisions you can make for keeping weeds out of your lawn now, and then also setting yourself up for success in the springtime. So hope that helps, guys. Again, thanks so much for taking the time to come hang out with us, and we will see you guys next week, same time. Have an amazing weekend.